Sure. All right. There. All right. We're live. Oh, hold on. Who's in here tonight? Might get saucy tonight, guys. Have a roll that Tito's. Okay, there we go. Remove this guy out. All right, welcome to REALMigos. We are here. Who's here? I don't see anybody in the chats yet, so that probably tells me that it's not fully rolling yet. But all right, we're here. Jeremy Knight, your favorite REALMigos host. There we go. I nailed it. We have a great guest tonight. Paul State. I thank you for aptly changing your name to Paul State. Paul Guerrero with Allstate, one of my best friends, somebody I call probably almost every day, Paul, right?
No, almost every day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I call Ian and Kevin pretty much almost every day too. So the three of you are on my top roster of calls.
They hold me hostage in a text thread.
I do. We hold you hostage in a lot of text threads. So, all right. So we're live. We are here. Paul, we're going to talk about a little bit of Texas trivia, insurance stuff. Really not trivia. It's just what's going on. But been a crazy week in real estate. So we'll get to Paul in a second. But my main man, Ian, welcome to the channel, man.
Welcome. Like, this is my first time here, right?
Yeah. It's your first time on the channel. Welcome.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Thank you all for having me. You know, it's been pretty interesting. So I did end up getting a couple under contract. One was a multiple offer situation. And I know we had talked for a couple weeks about you're still seeing it. And I was like, I'm not seeing it. Sure enough, I saw it. So that happened. And had some closings. It's been good.
Awesome. Kevin with the greatest mullet in town. Let's see that bad boy flow.
Look at that.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
I think
one
it's
second.
grown.
Oh, it's grown.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Full frame. Give him the shake. Oh my God.
It's flowing so free right now. I don't even know what to do with it at this point. It's like,
Okay.
I mean, it's just one of these things that does it just grow until it fills up the room? Like I have to start charging it rent?
Mhm.
I put it in a braid?
I'm not gonna lie. Your
Great.
son's mullet was one of the best mullets I've seen. Like, you've got
I
a
don't
good
disagree. He makes mine look like, I mean, his is just a straight up Mississippi mud flap. If I'm gonna say something, it's flowing free.
one. Dinosaur D is on eggshells that you might shave off the mullet. So
Oh, it's not going
Welcome back.
anywhere. And if it does, if it does, I'll donate that bee to charity. Okay.
There you go. I think it has to be 8 inches. That's what she said. Boom, boom. Okay.
I don't think a mullet is real unless you have a hat on that flows out at the bottom like that, or a cowboy hat on.
I've
and it
got
flows-
it.
He's
that's-
done it.
That's a real mullet.
I think
Just so-
most.
Good.
I mean, I've seen Kevin do it with like one of the coolest hats ever, and then like headphones. Like that's when it's like on par.
That's
You mean
that's
like
awesome,
Dinosaur D's
cowboy.
avatar?
I mean, I've got plenty in the closet I can bust out. I just try to remain moderately normal because I know that the internet is forever. So 10 years from now, somebody's going to find this show. And
Speaking of forever, did you see you can pay to delete your tweets now?
pay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can subscribe on Twitter. It's like $3 a month or something, and if you do that, you can now untweet.
I thought, like you couldn't delete them before.
Right?
Oh man, I didn't know
I
that.
You
know.
gotta pay somebody to do it.
I don't tweet.
Well, you
That's
pay
interesting.
Twitter.
I don't
So-
use the Twitters.
Monetized, you know.
So I have an announcement to make, everyone.
Uh-oh.
Announcement time. If everybody's ready for this announcement, I'm going to show you this announcement. But it's a huge announcement. It's It's huge. Did I do it?
Very big,
Did
bigly.
Gotta undelete that.
It's the biggest.
Jimmy's a very
biggest.
stable genius.
I am the best engineer in the world.
Oh, that's a good. That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right. So REALMigos is officially has its own Instagram page. I'm working on throwing stuff up there as we go. But go over to Instagram right now. Open up a separate tab. Listen to the Bullet Mania. But go over there. Hit the follow button on Instagram. Follow, because I'm going to put clips on there. I'm going to take pictures of Kevin naked in the shower and put it on there. It's going to be crazy. Okay. So go over to Instagram, REALMigos Cast, find it, follow it, share it with your friends. And then while you're at it, go over and buy some of the cool merch that Ian has worked very hard to put up there. So there you go. All right. So I want to get to my guest tonight, Paul with Allstate, formerly known as Paul State, one of my good friends. Paul, let me tell you something about Paul. One of the nicest Texas dudes you'll ever meet in your life. Just a straight up Texas dude. When you think of a Texas dude, it's Paul. Paul, where are you from?
West Texas, from Midland.
Midland, Texas. So couldn't be any more Texan. This guy has 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 daughters and runs a business.
Wow.
Yeah. They're cheap.
All under the age of like 15. So yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, my whole life is hunting, fishing, and loving every day. I'm truly a Texan.
It is. So okay. So on my channel, and I know Ian gets this a lot too. So let's talk about insurance real quick. So some of the major insurance questions that people always ask me, and I'm sure people, if you have insurance questions about Texas, look, we're not going to spend all night talking about insurance, but I like to have Paul on here because Paul helps agents out. So he is seeing all the craziness in the market. So I think that if there's anybody that understands the real estate market that's an outsider, right? Paul is the one. So ask a lot of insurance questions, but definitely real estate stuff Paul's going to answer too. But some of the questions I always get from people, is insurance more expensive in Texas? I always get that one on. Is car insurance more expensive? Why would it be more expensive? And is it flood everywhere? Paul, the floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about Texas is our laws are very different than other states. That a lot of people don't know that. You know, one of the things about, I have a lot of people moving here from California. Obviously, in California, they don't run credit, and credit is the #1 factor in Texas, which I think is kind of interesting. But and there's a lot of good things and bad things about that. Texas takes credit as a #1 factor, and so it's the best indication of a loss is someone's credit score, which I think is kind of interesting. Where California is the exact opposite of that. But no, we have some great rates in Texas because we don't have to deal with a lot of things like California has to deal with things like brush fire and sinking. You know, they're sliding off of America. They have to deal with a lot of laws like that.
I told you he was Texan, everybody. I just told you he was Texan.
We don't have to deal with that here. The good thing about Austin, where we live, it's the cheapest rates in the entire state of Texas because we're kind of sheltered. You know, the coast has to deal with hurricanes, and Dallas area has to deal with what we call the hail belt. So if there's hail passes through the Dallas area multiple times a year and causes multiple damages. Houston has to deal with flooding, has to deal with hurricanes as well, and Austin is kind of tucked in this little area that we have to deal with a lot. We have flooding obviously sometimes, but a lot it's mostly kept to the outside of it. So we have the cheapest rate. So I like to say the average premium in like Texas is about in Austin's like $700. In Dallas, it's double, $1,400. In Houston, it's triple, somewhere around $2,100 a year. And then down the valley, it's probably the same thing, $2,100 a year, because they have to deal with multiple things, like not just have to deal with home insurance, but have to deal with things like flood, TWIA, Texas windstorm, Texas FEMA, so flood insurance as well. So that's why it's a little more expensive there. So yes, the question is, yes, it is cheaper. If you've got an 824 credit score, then yes, it is cheaper. I've seen a lot of situations where people talk about, hey, I went through a divorce or I went through some medical stuff. And so most people don't know that you can rerun your insurance score and get a better rate. If you went through some stuff, you went through a situation, all of a sudden now your credit went from 600 to 824. You can rerun your numbers and get a better rate. Most people don't realize you can do that. That's a
Sweet.
couple of things. Yeah. But besides that, yeah, it's not that much more expensive. We're actually cheaper as a whole across the country because our laws are better. We do have a big issue right now that you're going to see in the Texas and Austin area with the police are no longer responding to car accidents anymore. So we're seeing a huge skyrocket of uninsured motorists, people driving here with no insurance. They know they're not going to get in trouble for not having a car accident, and so they're still driving on uninsured motorists. So that's one of the biggest things we deal with here from a car perspective is people driving here with no insurance. That kind of stinks, makes our uninsured rates go a little higher because of that. But as a whole, man, rates are cheap as a whole in Texas compared to a lot of places.
Late last year, I had somebody pull out in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
She had no driver's license, driving her boyfriend's car.
Mm-hmm.
The police wouldn't come.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when they started doing that.
Yep.
And then I called about the police report because I was like, well, how's insurance going to handle this? They told me to file my own police report. I filed my own police report. I said exactly what happened. I filed it with the city. And then when her insurance company said, well, she said she didn't do anything wrong. I was like, she doesn't have a driver's license. She doesn't know what's right and wrong. She didn't even pass the test. They said, well, we don't really care. So they actually sided with them for a long time until I got my company to win in subrogation. But that whole thing was like mind blowing to me.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing. I deal with it every day. It's like, hey, I got someone rear-ended me. They admitted they're at fault, and all of a sudden, 2 days later, they're like, "Oh yeah, they pulled out in front of me and slammed their brakes." I mean, people's stories change so much. Like they'll tell you one thing to your face. I always tell my clients, man, when you got a car, you record the entire conversation because they're so apologetic at the time, but when stuff goes down, they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about." So, it's a kind of a scary situation there, but it happens so often. But unfortunately, it is what it is. They're not doing anything about it right now, unless someone's seriously injured. Then they'll send police out, and then they'll send out an ambulance, stuff like that. But if that doesn't happen, then yeah. The question about 6 months. So car insurance is typically on average 6 month premiums. $700 is the average. It's actually about 100. That's for a car. So an annual premium for a home is about $700 a year for home insurance on average. Okay, and for car insurance, it's about $80 to $100 a month for car insurance. Now, if you're a baller and you drive a Tesla, it's a little bit more expensive. But besides that, the normal car, it's about $6 or $7 every 6 months on their car insurance. It can fluctuate based on multiple factors.
When I told Paul I was getting a Tesla, he's like, "Oh, your insurance is going to go up." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, you might as well just buy a Porsche." I'm like, "What? It's going to be expensive." This is a good question. Does it count as a hard inquiry on your insurance company looks at your credit report?
It does not. It's a very interesting thing. My business happens to deal. We do a lot with realtors and real estate, and so the lenders say do not run your credit score when you're talking to somebody. The good thing about insurance is we do a soft pull, and so it does not affect your credit. It pops up the same as like if someone does an inquiry for a credit card, pre-approving you. Same thing for us. We do a soft pull, so it will not affect your credit score when you're buying a house. Or my lenders would murder me.
So if you put cameras on your car in your house, does your insurance go down?
It does not. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of cameras because it can go both ways. It can be used against you as well. But hey, I had a customer. Well, I'll tell you this. I had a customer one time who had a camera in front of his truck, and some guy was calling through traffic and pulled out in front of him. Got the whole thing on video, and there were still issues with it afterwards. Like, well, you could have avoided it based on this video. You had a potential. You saw him coming from your rear view. You could have avoided it. I was like, oh, that's a tough one. So I think videos can work against you. I'm not a huge fan. I don't recommend anything I don't personally do, and I don't personally have any videos in my cars.
Not pointing outwards. You got videos pointing inside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about bundle policies?
Yeah. The biggest, I mean, here's the deal. Nobody really wants your policy if it's just a car or a home. We want to be able to offset our losses by having the bundle. So, I mean, most companies are 20 to 40% by having all your business together. You guys are realtors, and so you deal with a lot of landlords. You deal with a lot of investors. Investors, it's a 40% discount if you have everything bundled together. So, like, we always push to have everything. You don't want to, if you're an investor, you want to have everything together because landlords' policies are they're not profitable. So we have to have all the business to make it a better package overall. So yeah.
Nice. Look at that. Insurance guy being honest with you on a real estate channel. Look at that. Real quick, before we go any further, I want to call out Master Jedi. Master Jedi. So some people might know this. I have a second YouTube channel, and I sometimes get other Austin YouTubers information, in fact, or videos. In fact, I've actually met with like 7 other Austin YouTubers over the last couple weeks just to meet with them, chat with them, see if they're cool people, right? There's a small YouTube world of YouTubers talking about Austin real estate and things like that. So I met with them, love them all, great people. Maybe not Ian as much, but just kidding, Ian. We love you. We love you a lot. So as I'm looking through this second channel and all these other people's channels start getting, Master Jedi is dropping comments everywhere. He is the comment whore of YouTube right here on other real estate channels. Comment HO4. There you go. Just kidding, Master. I love this. Calling him out as I should.
I wonder where you were going with that. I was like,
calling him out. I'm just kidding, man. I appreciate you. Look, Master Jedi, I look forward to meeting you. I think you're long gone out of Texas now, but look forward to meeting you, man. I've enjoyed you on the channel. I know you're not going to be in Austin much longer. Appreciate you very much. I appreciate you continually asked to have Amanda Rickman back on. Paul knows Amanda Rickman very well. They're actually almost neighbors. And Amanda came on and got rather rowdy with some drinks. In fact, she started singing karaoke on this channel. In fact, Paul, country guy, right? Show us your beverage of choice right now.
It's a Lone Star. It might be a little Lone Star. I don't want to advertise and get paid for doing this or anything. It might be a Lone Star.
No. We're okay. This is a Texas channel, so we're allowed to.
So Lone Star, if you would like to sponsor me and send me 3 cases of beer, I'm not going to fight you about it.
If Lone Star's watching this,
and Tito's, if you're watching this,
Lone Star is pretty liberal when they give out gifts like that, sponsorships. We've done boat parties for the last few years, well, up until last year or the year before, but we've done boat parties and they'll just give you cases. It's great.
Yeah. What's it cost to make beer? Like a nickel?
Yeah, it's nothing. And they even gave us T-shirts and the girls, little things.
Yeah.
What things?
Amanda didn't know what SpaceX was. So somebody says something, she's like, "What's SpaceX?" And Ian literally was like, "Wow."
I can tolerate some things, but that is unacceptable. I'm sorry.
Master Jedi is not from this planet to begin with, so he is leaving.
He's just going back home.
Yeah.
I like that Buc-ee's. I like that Buc-ee's emblem he had there, though. That's pretty legit.
Yeah, he was moving to Bastrop. I'll let him tell his story. I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to throw him under the bus too hard. But okay, we're back to a couple of insurance questions. Do you need title insurance at house purchase in Texas? That's a great question. So this isn't something Paul covers, right? Title companies do title insurance. This is a great question. So basically what title insurance does, it's going to go through and verify that there's no claims on the property you're purchasing. So it's going to make sure that if there's a cloud on title, like somebody might have a claim to that, they basically make sure that it's a sellable property. Now, if you don't have title insurance and somebody comes back 2 years after you purchase the home and says, "Hey, you know what? I actually have rights to that property," and you don't have insurance, the title insurance, which is like $3,000. Typically, the seller pays for the title insurance. The last few months, it hasn't been the same, but typically the seller's going to pay for the title insurance. You might as well take it just in case somebody says, "Hey, I own like 1/10 of this property. You need to buy me out." Am I wrong? Anybody want to jump in?
Doesn't it also get into like water rights and oil rights and stuff like that as well? Did they do research on that as well? That's a big deal here. I mean, because when you're buying land, we own some land, and the big deal there was, hey, who has ownership of the water, who has ownership of the land, who has ownership of the oil that's below it? That's a big deal, and they do. My understanding is they do that as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, mineral rights are a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah, mineral rights. Yep, that's a word.
Yeah, but near here, a lot of that stuff is picked up by the developer anyway. So it's like a lot of the residential deals, not the big stuff, just the smaller one.
There was that huge lawsuit in Georgetown because the big development that they sold there, somebody had rights to the land still. So there's a huge cloud on title. So all these homes that sold, like 400 homes, I think, there was a huge still cloud on title. So there was a big issue. So title insurance is pretty important.
Well, that's the issue. The issue is that the developer, and you have a lot of investors that do this too. They're like, I don't need it. And that's when it comes back to bite them. If the developer's doing that, that's going to be an issue, right? But if they had done their job and they had paid for a policy or something, then possibly that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Or enforced that everybody got title.
Yep. Okay. Here's a good question. Back to the title stuff. What differentiates
what differentiates Allstate from any other insurance company?
Oh man, here's the big deal. I mean, I want to answer that question, but I don't want to like sell. You know what I mean? So Allstate's a big brand.
I pre-warned Paul before he came on here. I said, look, we don't sell anything on this channel. We talk about real estate. We talk about stuff. So I pre-told Paul, look, no sales pitches, none of that fun stuff, because we actually, we want to give people advice. Right. So Paul, your company and what you do, what differentiates you and what you do?
Sure.
Not necessarily.
I like to put it this way. I know Allstate's a brand. It's a $1 billion company with tons of employees, right? And that's what I sell. I sell Allstate product. I'm a 1099 contractor of Allstate. I think the question would more be like, what makes the agency different? And that's a person, you know what I mean? And what makes, it's like when you're going to buy a house, you can buy it from Zillow and they're going to do these things online. They're going to do a number, right? Or I can hire a realtor, and a realtor is going to represent me. A realtor is going to go out and do research on this neighborhood, and research on the title, research on the economics of the neighborhood, the school district, how good the school district is, and they're going to fight for me to get the best deal on the house. Is what a realtor is going to do for me. A realtor is going to have a connection with the lender, and the lender is going to be like, oh, you know what? We're going to fight underwriting to make sure that if it doesn't appraise the right amount, then we're going to fight to make sure the best price for you. We're going to negotiate for you, and that's what I do. When crap goes down and a freeze happens and your pipes are frozen, you're not calling 800. You're calling an actual person like Jeremy, like Ian, like Kevin, and saying, fix this for me now. And that's what I do. I spend the bulk of my time just fixing things and people calling my cell phone. I've had 2 phone calls since we've been here just now on stuff going on, claims going on. So that's what separates the agency for us than everybody else. Is a Paul State, fix it for me right now, just like a realtor. I'm very similar to a realtor. I represent you to fight on your behalf, to negotiate, just like these guys do.
What's funny about Paul, and it's not funny at all. It rhymed. Oh my God, I need to stop drinking tonight. So what's funny about Paul? Every time I hang out with Paul, his phone does not stop ringing. Every 10th word I get out, oh, hold on a second, Jeremy. I call Paul, and Paul's like, oh, hold on, I gotta take this call. So Paul's a very busy man. We'll call him the fixer. Like, what was that movie with Michael? What was it? Oh man, where he was the fixer. Anyway, Paul is the fixer. Paul makes it happen. All right, Jer Bear has sweet lips. That's a fact. I mean, facts. Hashtag. All right. I found a 2x4 in front of the yard while doing some gardening. Leftover presents from KW. Can I keep it? It's cold. I think you can sell for $30.
So yeah, you're rich.
This Dondi, this is a well-timed comment. I just spent the last 2 hours with a reporter from Bloomberg. He's probably watching the channel. Very nice gentleman. I'm not saying that just because he probably is watching the channel, but I just spent 2 hours with a gentleman from Bloomberg. We actually went to Santa Rita Ranch today. I did a whole video with Jaden. Jaden's probably watching. What's up, Jaden? And we walked through Santa Rita Ranch. We met with builders. I don't want to tell you what he's writing an article about because I'm going to let him do his thing. But Santa Rita Ranch, you got to be prepared for some prices up there. Ian, I know, and I called Ian while I was there. I was like, Ian, dude, what the hell is wrong with these prices in Santa Rita Ranch? Santa Rita Ranch, holy crap. So we went through Scott Felder. Scott Felder had 10 properties. And there's a bunch of lines through a few homes, and it was like 15 grand. So the reporter was like, hey, so I see that you're reducing prices. The guy chuckled. No, we're not reducing prices. He's like, that's off the lot premium. We already kind of had that baked in. Like, we were either going to make that or we won't. So we were dropping it down, just incentivized. Oh, so the inventory is going to be sold pretty quick. Then he's like, yeah, these homes that we're selling won't be done till June. So Pulte, if you're looking at Pulte, Ian, you might know, does Pulte have inventory in Santa Rita?
Oh, they didn't. Not last I've checked. No.
Yeah. So it's funny. So that was what I did today. I spent time with Bloomberg. It was fun. It was a good time. Great time. Actually.
Hey, Jeremy, question for you. Real estate question. I've had a couple of customers buy the model home and then lease it back to the builder. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool because then you get the model home when they're done. Does a builder pay rent during that time while they're doing that? Do you know? They do? Is that a suggestion? Could you go to Pulte and say, hey, man, listen, I need a house. I'm moving. I'm a Tesla and I'm moving here in 6 months. I want to buy. Is that something you can do? Would you suggest?
So I'll let these guys talk about it, but there's one thing. You have to buy it as an investment loan. You can't buy it as a buyer to live in it. Number one, the driveway has to be completed. So a lot of those new builds, the model homes, the driveways aren't completed. It's all maintenance, but the garage is kind of there. So since it's not converted, it becomes a challenge selling to an individual looking to live there. You can buy it as an investment loan, but you might run into issues there. But going back, hell yeah. If the builder is going to lease it back to me now, I mean, these guys might have some input on there, but yeah, if I could do that and pay cash, yes, absolutely, I'd do it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I 100%
I think it depends on guaranteed money. Yeah, I think it depends on the spread, right? Like if you have to put a lot more because you know it's a feature-rich model home, well, that's going to be something to consider, to add into the cost. But you'll get speakers in the walls. It's great.
All the upgrades.
Yeah, they're usually quite
all the upgrades. That's the thing. Like they put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the upgrades for it. So that's a big deal. It can be, especially with the cost of paint and stuff right now.
A few years back, there was a subdivision out here, Dripping Springs on Hamilton Pool, and the house prices were steady, like 650, 700. And they waited till last to sell the model house, and they were asking 1.1 million.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
In that case, it probably didn't make any sense. Well, now it does, because that house is probably worth $1.5 million.
Right.
So for the gentleman that was interviewing, this comment right here sums up everything that we talked about today.
Ooh.
I bought Pulte in Sunfield under contract since June. July, August, September, October, November, 5 months in almost, and no foundation yet. Tommy, since you wrote a comment, I appreciate it. If you could write a follow-up comment. When did they tell you, what was the expected build time that they gave you, and what is their new adjusted time frame? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And it's 100% what we talked about today. So, but I don't want to tell you what his article's about because I really don't know. It was fun. We had a good time. Where else are we at? So going back to the insurance thing, one last question. Dinosaur D, my second favorite mullet next to Kevin's mullet. Other insurances, what other insurances does Paul do?
We broker out. We from home, auto, investment properties, toys like motorcycles, ATVs, campers, trailers, stuff like that. We've been seeing, and from the real estate perspective, we've been seeing a ton of people buying land with mobile homes on there. We can do that. I'm not a huge fan of the mobile home policies when it's over 10 years old. I just ethically don't like selling that just because the policy is awful. But there are carriers out there that will do that. But that's a big trend right now that I'm seeing people trying to buy up land. It's got a mobile home on there. I'm gonna live there for a couple of years until I can afford to build a house. But we can do that as well. So we can do it all. I like to stick to my niche, and my niche is real estate, and I love doing that part. I love talking real estate. I love seeing what you guys are doing and people moving here. I get to have conversations with people from New York and California and Minnesota every single day. I love it. Just hearing people's stories of why they like to move here, why they're moving here.
And that's why I thought you'd be great for this, because not to sell insurance or anything like that, but you see what all the realtors are going through. You get, a lot of your clients. So the way you do your business is primarily you work with realtors, and a lot of your, clients come from realtors with people buying homes, right? That's where you start, and then you bundle later. So that's why I thought you'd be good, because you're seeing what we're seeing as realtors. Yeah. Right. You're seeing the influx of people. You're seeing what people are going through. So one question is, how was the winter storm for you, Paul?
Personally, it was good where I live because I'm in the country a little bit, and so our power grid isn't overrun. But the winter storm was overall. Most of the freezes were, I know in like Minnesota they don't have exterior exterior water, the water tanks, what are they called?
Hot water heaters.
Hot water heaters, yeah. They don't have exterior ones, or they don't have the ones that are electronic water heaters. They don't have those. And so we have a lot of them in Texas because we never had anything like that. And so the biggest claim I saw was the water heaters, or the water, that systems, those froze up. And that was the biggest claim. I had a few that were pretty bad that bust inside the house, but I have like 7,000 clients. Of the 7,000 clients, I only had like 10% claims filed. And of those, probably only 2 to 3% were like catastrophes, where flooded upstairs, flooded everything downstairs. A lot of stuff happened in garages, where the garages obviously isn't being insulated. It's not being heated up like other houses, like the houses. And so the pipes that run through the garage were busting and flooding into the garage. So it's not a big deal. You're talking about fix a pipe, sheetrock, paint, move on, and it doesn't even see the deductible. So that was so for overall, the freeze was minor. The hailstorms in May, June, July was a much bigger situation and I'm still dealing with that to this day with hailstorms that people didn't even realize there was damage until now. So it's been a kind of a crazy year this year. But yeah, the hailstorms were much worse than the actual freeze itself.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys have clients that had issues, Ian and Kevin?
I had friends that had issues that were past. Yeah, I guess they were clients too in the past. Yeah. So, a bunch of them had to come over and grab water out of my tub and that sort of thing. That was mid-movie.
I did a whole video on it. It was a good time, I guess. So Dondi, great point. So Ian's the man, first off, but apartments. So I'm going to make a little announcement right here. Jeremy and I have brought in an agent to exclusively work with leasing people, leases, people who want to lease in Austin, specifically apartment locating. So if you want to reach out to me, my email is somewhere in here. Email me and just say, put me in touch with Beck, B-E-C, Beck. She's apartment locator. So if you're going to need help renting, she primarily does apartments. So if you need help with apartments, Beck, she is phenomenal at what she does. I just brought her on the team. So quick shout out. In fact, we were supposed to film a video today. Bloomberg guy got in the way with it. It's okay. Bloomberg guy. It's all right. I move things for you. All right. Amber, been following for a while, but fill me in. Are you all brokers or agents or what? We are people. Jeez, Amber.
I can't tell.
It's funny that she mentions that, because on my split screen I have the study guide because I'm taking my broker exam on Monday.
Nice.
So
nice. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. I just have to take my exam I don't want to do it.
Why not?
Just, you know, because then there's just
that's
so
a
much
lot of
more CE
liability.
and everything else that you
I want the liability.
and the
though.
liability.
I want that liability.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I do.
So yeah, Eileen's actually getting her broker's list. I'm brokered in California, but I haven't sold a single home in California. Just an agent here. I'm living my life. La, la, la,
Just
la,
an
living my life.
agent.
I think what's important
Actually,
is that we all have all of
high
the
producing agent.
criteria to be brokers other than having taken the test.
Yeah,
Because there are a
correct.
lot of requirements that you have to meet in order to get your broker's license now. It used to be you go back 10 years and anybody can get their broker's license. They just had to be an agent for 2 years and then bam, they could take the test and be a broker. So it didn't mean much back then. Now it does. No
I
offense.
actually found the difference. Somebody told me this the other day. So the ones that have passed the real estate exam but haven't joined, like, I don't know, passed one of the exams is like a licensed real estate agent. That's the name of their thing. But then a real estate agent that's part of the board and practices as a realtor, and that's the difference.
Yes, that's that, and then the ethical signatures saying that I swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Yeah, that's.
So does that mean the other ones aren't ethically bound to?
It just means that they haven't had to commit to it, right?
Oh, that's sketchy.
Well, just like builder agents. Again, no offense.
Did you just say way? Stop cussing on this channel. Jeez. Okay, so Aaron, this is actually a great question. I do want to answer this inflation question. I actually sent everybody the inflation thing before, like at 10 o'clock this morning. Timestamped that. I think it was 10 o'clock. So I do want to talk about the inflation thing. I want to get through some of these comments, chat with Paul a little bit more. But inflation, Aaron asked this in about 10 minutes, okay? And we're going to come back to it. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. What exactly did Tesla buy extra land? So they bought it literally right next to where they have now. There's a whole article on Austin Business Journal, ABJ. There is no like saying what it is yet, but I have a feeling that's where they're going to build their.
I pulled it up.
Yeah, you pull it up. Is it on there?
Yeah, I pulled up the map.
Oh, where is it? Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
This is 130. You've got Giga Texas. They said in the journal on the other side of the Colorado. I won't say it. I would assume it's not here because this is wastewater. So my thought is it's right here. Yeah,
that's where I'm pretty sure. If you look at the Business Journal, I can bring it up in a minute, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was because they had because Tesla owns land on that side of 130 and on the other side. In fact, SpaceX was supposed to be on the other side. From someone who worked at SpaceX who was moving here told me SpaceX is going the other side of 130, but I don't know if that's true.
Interesting flood. Interesting. I remember when I think it was a year ago when they were building the Gigafactory. I was driving on 130 and all the rain had rained a ton and had done some flooding in Austin. And underneath Tesla, the bottom, like below it, there was this inches of water running underneath it. It's in a flood zone. Did you know that, Jeremy?
Yep. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, these guys must be geniuses. They never built that big of a factory in a flood zone. Like I would love to hear like what they did to make that work and not flood that and had the whole entire thing sink as well. You know what I mean?
You haven't seen the videos of the Teslas floating on water?
Yeah, Tesla's.
That's your homework for tonight.
Yeah, Tesla boats is what we're selling next. So one thing I wanted to show on here, and I hate the ABJ because it does this like huge stupid ad right here at the top. They're trying to get rid of it. But $1 billion in a renewable energy project expected to create 400 jobs in Caldwell, Hayes counties. So just south of Kyle. So for all those people that think the market's crashing because of, I don't know, I mean, more jobs are, and hopefully these are high paying jobs, right? This is what our government's going after is renewable energy. So there you go, right there, right between San Marcos. In fact, isn't that off 150? Holy crap. That is, I know exactly where that is. Cool.
You know, something cool. I had a client the other day from a large company we may have mentioned in the past few minutes. And he's an executive and he was buying an $8 million house. And I was like, well, are you moving here? He's like, well, no, not yet. I'm going to move here eventually. And I was like, well, why are you buying the house? He's well, some of my executive friends will be moving to the Austin area soon, and I don't want to have to pay. I don't want what happened to my friends in the $1 million range. We went from $1 million to $2 million, and now his price range is going to go from $8 million to $10 million because they're all going to start coming here. And I was like, so you're telling me there's a bunch of people buying $8 to $10 million houses here as like their secondary residence? My mind was blown. I mean, he was just buying it just in case his friends all start buying at the same time. You know, he wanted to get ahead of the market in that price range. So I was like, wow, that's another level. But apparently they're all coming, dude. They're all coming.
That Eileen Knight, man, she's pretty hot right now, as they say. Good job, Gandhi.
She's so hot right now.
This is so hot right now. It's funny. The guy from Bloomberg today was like, "So, is your wife on your videos?" I was like, "No, she's too busy actually working." So, Paul, do you offer falling off your bike insurance?
I mean, anytime, whatever you want, we'll find a way to get you taken care of. I'm sure there's a way. You know, it's funny on the falling your bike. You know, we had a lot of, you know, the whole scooter thing. Remember people riding scooters around town? Now they have bikes, the electric bikes around town. There have been so many claims I've had to deal with from people getting hit by those people or hitting those people. They may or may not have had a few before or after. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like seriously, that's actually covered by your insurance, by the way. It's super crazy. MedPay and PIP pays for stuff like that. When you get hit by a bike, you get hit by a car and on a scooter or a bicycle, it's kind of funny. But I've seen some funny stuff in my days that I never would have anticipated. I'm gonna tell you a funny one real quick. I'm gonna tell you quick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I had a kid. A few years ago, I had a kid who remember when the Camaro? So Camaro went from the old school Camaro to a new Camaro, right? The body style drastically changed. Well, he had just bought. Let's just say it's 2006. I'm not a Camaro guy. Let's say it's 2006. He had just bought a brand new 2006 Camaro. He was so excited about it. And the very next year, the new 2007 came out, and it was like this whole all new body style. And I was kind of a newer agent at the time, and he filed a hail claim. And I was like, a hail claim? Damn, it hasn't hailed in Austin in like a year. And he's like, yeah, it's a hail claim. So our adjusters went out there, and this kid literally took a pillowcase and put golf balls in there and beat the hell out of his car. And here's the problem. The adjuster was like, listen, sir, I know that it probably was hell, sir, but the patterns were the exact same patterns all over his car. Like he didn't get like OG he just beat it with the same area over and over again. And this poor kid had to drive like a 2006 Camaro brand new with just beat to crap because he thought he could file hail damage and get a brand new Camaro. I felt so bad for the kid. I was like, man, dude, are you sure that's what happened? Because this is probably a criminal offense if you continue to lie about this. And he was like, fine, whatever. Poor guy. I know. I've seen some funny stuff over the years.
Jeremy, you're muted. Jeremy, you're muted.
My bad. That's funny. Joel last week got in a fight almost physically with our guest last week. So I'm curious to see if Joel gets in a fight with Paul tonight. Paul is a much nicer guy. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
I can get ghetto though. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I mean, your audio sucks apparently from Master Jedi. I told you got to watch out for this guy. Paul is wearing a retainer. Look, don't make fun of the guy's teeth, man. The guy is working hard out here. So this is funny. Okay. So my interview today asked me specifically like, hey, what's going on in Gerald? So I told him like, I can't really answer any questions about Gerald. I don't want to get sued by some company. I'm not going to say they're named right here, but Winky smiley face. Anybody know what's going on in Gerald? Anybody want to answer that question?
Well, I don't want to answer that question either.
Yeah.
Are they building a rodeo?
Yeah.
Gerald rodeo.
You know, wait, hold on a second. In the last election, we had just this like 2 weeks last week, was there not something in there, a provision to our Constitution saying so rodeos could sell tickets, right? So you could, so the provision was something to the effect that you could sell raffle tickets. I wonder if that has anything to do with what's named on here. I wonder if they push this. No conspiracy theories, but I wonder. Who knows? Anyway, the next one is this next comment. I'm gonna let you guys talk because Saucy Jeremy is happening tonight. This is not water in this cup. I'm letting you know right now. It's also not bourbon, unfortunately. But Jeremy for president, never gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Anyway, all right, what's going on over there, guys? Somebody talk. Get me off here.
We're gonna talk about, are we going to answer Aaron's question?
No, Aaron. Aaron, I'm still muted. I can't hear you.
Got it.
Oh, my son, last night. Championship game. We lost. We lost. Oh, it was so close. It was heartbreaking. Kid on the mound started crying. It was tough, but it was very fun. We had a great time. Great experience. Son did great. Had a good time. Anyway, that was fun. Joel, what's up, man? Paul, you bench like what, 300, right? You can take Joel.
You know, I gotta just, when those boys come around from my daughters, I gotta be able to get them off, and I'm pretty scary.
Don't you hang dead deer from the front of your house just to make sure boys know that you?
No animals were hurt. No animals were hurt in the production of this. I always see that. I always see that on like TikTok and stuff. It's like a hunting video, and it was like no animals were hurt in the production of this video.
Oh yeah, the defensive driving question.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not. It used to be a thing, but who took defensive driving? Who took it? Why did you take defensive driving?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I'm not going to tell my
We all took it. We all took it.
Right, but why did you take it though?
You
got a ticket. Exactly.
Yeah,
so only people who were taking the class are people who are getting tickets, speeding tickets. It was like, hey, good job, you got a speeding ticket. Here's a discount. So they got rid of that. It's not a thing anymore. At least with the companies, a few companies I work with, it's not a thing anymore. But just because it became a reward for driving quickly.
Master Jedi, I don't think you're allowed to say this. I think that gets you banned on YouTube, man. Just for the discount. Nope, still can't do it. All right, guys. Inflation. Let's talk some inflation numbers since Master Jedi, Aaron is actually asking great questions. Master Jedi, you got to up your game, man. Okay, yeah.
Debunking. Debunking.
So this is a great question for Paul. Paul, do you see inflation hurting the insurance game?
Big time. To replace the old bumpers before cameras, $500. New bumpers post cameras, $5,000. Now, whenever we're having to source out more the cameras from other places, you're talking about a $7,000 bumper now. So yeah, it's a big deal right now because they're having a harder time sourcing product. A really cool, which I think is, I don't know what other companies that do this, but we had this endorsement that really I think has gotten us in bad recently. We had this thing called new car replacement, okay? And back in the day, it was a good idea. So you bought a 2017 Tahoe and you total it. Well, we would give you the value of up until 3 years later, a 2020 Tahoe. Well, back in the day, that was no big deal. Oh, yeah, we pay extra $10,000 for a new Tahoe. But now, if you total your car now and it's a 2020, and now we're in 2021 or 2022, that Tahoe went from $70,000 to $110,000. And man, that's a big deal. It's an endorsement that is added, and it's a big deal because now it wasn't a big deal back in the past, but now it is. A car, the prices for a new car and any used car to replace a used car has skyrocketed. So it's a big deal. Obviously, to rebuild a house is a big deal as well. So you can't rebuild a house the way you used to. I've never been to Worst Fest. I really want to go to Worst Fest.
Oh, I actually.
How have you never been?
I don't know. I'm half German.
You're
I've
closer.
been to Worst Fest in Germany. Actually, I have been to Worst Fest, but it was in Germany. Sorry, not in New Braunfels. I really want to go to New Braunfels.
We should go this weekend. Anybody want to go with us this weekend? We can get tickets. I'm going this weekend. Paul, let's go this weekend. Come on, man.
I may be fishing, and I'm gonna be fishing on the coast. little duck
You're not
hunting.
deer hunting this weekend? It's deer season. Come on.
Duck hunting and fishing. I'm gonna
Oh man. Jeez.
prevent the ducks from overpopulating the earth.
So what about inflation, guys? What's going on with inflation? What's the news?
So I pulled this up and I just noticed the top few all are related to cars. I mean, there are other things, planes and such, right? But really cars. And what that makes me think is how it will affect real estate, because that's what this channel is about, is what people are going to be buying, when they're going to be buying cars, and how far are they willing to drive. I think those are going to be two big factors that start to change as inflation continues to rise. Just one thought. And so, Paul, you brought up something about not liking cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so like all the Teslas have cameras on them, right? And it's the number 1, 2, and 3 selling car in the United States. That's going to be a problem, right? So now you got all the oil and all the
Ian's
cameras.
dunking on you now.
No. I'm not
dunk on you.
I'm not. That's not a dunk. That's like, man, that's a scary thought, right?
So, question. I'm not a baller. So, I don't know how do Teslas record like pre-car accident and post-car accident. I don't know how the cameras work.
So the Teslas record while you're driving, and it saves it on a little thumb drive. So as long as the thumb drive's not destroyed, and they just released a software update where you can now record to your phone remotely. Like I could pull up the view around my car and inside my car while I'm in the store, making sure, if I see a shopping cart or something hit the car, I can go and find that person.
That's interesting.
It is. It's changing.
Man, I just as much as insurance is big brother, that scares me. Just kind of like, we'll pull this video up and I can see what you did here. It scares me a little bit, you know what I mean? But I know in the trucking business, I have some friends who are truckers, like long haul truckers, and one of them is hell bent. He has a camera in his, and he's recorded a lot of stuff. And one of them, he will not do it. And on their insurance, they get a huge discount because the camera doesn't always face forward. It faces forward and the driver. So if you're texting and driving, his big deal is if he's texting and driving, or he just looks somewhere, is distracted, he could get sued personally for being distracted if something happens. You know what I mean? So that's kind of scary as well. But
it's funny.
whatever.
That's actually in the code for the cars. So you can look at it and it'll say percentage of time that you're looking forward facing the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're looking away, they can tell. And that's how they know, if these accidents that have been happening are at fault of the driver or someone else.
Scary.
It is. It's scary.
Yeah.
And, people aren't even catching on to this stuff. It's like, whoa, I don't know if you,
Yeah, technology's come a long way for cars, a ton. I am a big fan of the whole like slamming on. It slams on. It helps you slam on your brakes. You know what I mean? If you make a mistake, that's a huge thing too.
So I don't believe Tesla has insurance in Texas yet. I know they have it in California, right? And I know it's coming to Texas if it's not already here.
So I heard the same thing, but I had one of my employees this past week say, "Did y'all know Tesla was doing insurance in Texas?" And that's new. Do you know why they're doing that, by the way? Because it's so freaking expensive to fix a Tesla. They control the parts, they control the service, they control the warranty, they control everything. I had a customer hit a curb. It was $25,000 to fix her Tesla after hitting a curb. I was like, whoa.
Here's what it is, and I don't know if people have caught on to this pattern, but it's basically the iPhone, right? Like Apple controls all of the parts, all of the software, and the insurance, and you just have to deal with what they do. It works.
Yeah.
What about this new leasing model, or not leasing model? Yeah, what do they call it? It's not even leasing model, it's subscription model. Do you guys have any special stuff going on for subscription based cars?
Yeah, it's funny. I had a very long conversation back and forth with an underwriter about that. So, technology is moving much faster than insurance companies are to keep up with them. And because remember, everything we do is through Texas Department of Insurance. There's a law associated with everything we do, right? So we can't do anything without it being passed and stuff like that. And so we haven't kept up. But I had a conversation with a client of mine who did a subscription service for like Ferraris. Like he rents a Ferrari, like Ferrari, Lamborghinis, like 2 times a month. He does it every month for 2 times a month. He drives on the weekends, right? And we ended up. Now, I don't want to get myself in a legal situation here, but we ended up treating it like it was a rental car. But there's a lot of you're essentially renting a rental car, like from Enterprise, twice a month and stuff like that. So we ended up treating it that way. But I'm sure, companies are trying to come along, but no one is really because there's so many things like the Uber situation and then the rental car, like the high-end rental car situation. There's a lot of stuff that's changing, and we're not moving as fast as they are. But I think it's an awesome concept with the whole what's it called when you rent your car? What's that service called when you rent your car out for the weekend? I can't think of what it's called, but yeah, it's a big deal. Turo, yeah. Turo's because now you're making an income renting your vehicle. So now this is a commercial use. It's not a personal use anymore. So when you're generating income, it's now commercial. It's not personal. So that's a slippery slope. Like you're renting it, no big deal. But the guy renting his car to you, that's where the problem could occur because it's an income generating. So it's commercial, not personal anymore. So yeah, I've had this conversation a lot.
I'm about to blow your mind. So obviously Tesla has all these different plans, right? They're going to be, the plan is to release an autonomous vehicle, right? Where the vehicles drive themselves, but also they can go pick up and use that as like a Turo service. So the car will drive and pick up the person. That person will pay you to use your car, and then the car will drive them to the next spot, all under Tesla insurance.
Wow.
With cameras watching.
Yeah, they're gonna be my competitor for the future. To see what happens. I mean, I think it's awesome. Honestly, I think it's pretty cool what they're doing. But here's a problem. There's always gonna be the guy who drives a 1965 Ford Mustang, and he no one's gonna drive him, and he's gonna drive himself. He's gonna drive fast, and no one's gonna tell him otherwise. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing for me. Is there's always gonna be the guy who's like, I'm driving a truck. You know what I mean? And it's a gas powered diesel truck. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think it's pretty cool though what they're doing. It's revolutionary. If Elon wants to give me a call and I can be his insurance agent, then I wouldn't be a problem. Sure.
He would say, "Can I buy you? Can I buy you?" He just left.
Bye, Jeremy.
Bye. No, I'm sure it was important.
Gotta take a phone call. Oh, you act like it's so important. Okay, guys, I guess it's my turn to run the show. No, that's awkward.
You can't do that. You can't do the comments though.
I know I can't do the comments. I know.
You can read them.
I was going to talk a little bit more about inflation because we didn't talk much about the
you didn't answer it at all. Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like inflation. It's basically 6%. It's the highest, but if they check like not month to month, it's year to year, right? So from last year this month to this year this month, right? That's how they do the inflation. And I'm mixed feelings about it. I think there are too many knee-jerk reactions to these numbers coming out all the time. Like, oh, the number came out, inflation's high. Let's sell all of our stocks right now and crash. That's just the kind of stuff I don't understand. So, I mean, I'm skeptical about a lot of this stuff anyway. Like, the leading sections of inflation based on that report are a lot of automotive, and they're based on what? Like chip shortages that are going to flesh themselves out, low supply, which if you ask me, I mean, that the chip shortage, I guess, is the big driver of that. And then maybe increased demand, but I think it's more of a supply issue than it is anything. I think demand is steadily increasing naturally, but I think the supply is artificially and naturally constrained. So when it fleshes itself out, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like when you look at normal consumer goods, like some of those can be controlled, like fuel prices, for example. What's the excuse on those right now? Is it, there are things that can be done in that regard, right? So, right. But, and you also don't have to pay, and I don't know why you ever would pay $110,000 for a Tahoe. So that's your choice. But, you can delay purchasing big purchases like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical on this stuff. I don't make big decisions based on one monthly report. You know me. I need months upon months of trending data.
It also says 6.2% in October, but only 4.6% without food and energy. Like if you take food and energy out of it, then it's only 4%.
Yeah. And food and energy based on like what too? Like everybody's working from home now, more energy usage from home,
right?
A little bit less fuel usage, which maybe now that demand is back up for fuel again, and they didn't anticipate that as quickly as it was. I understand why the prices are up a little bit, but
well, and do you eat more from home?
I don't know actually. I don't know.
I don't either. But if you're working from home 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you grocery shop more and throw that food away more often. I would say that, yeah.
Paul goes to Hayes City store every single day, so Hayes City store.
My personal thing.
If you're benching 300 for real, then you have to go. I
thought it was funny that limited snapshot of the inflation rates, the one that you showed, Ian, bacon and sausage was important enough to make that list.
Yeah.
Like hey guys, but wait, what is the bacon and sausage inflation report for this month? How much is that going to cost me? I mean, you had a whole breakfast in there, essentially. There's eggs in there, bacon and sausage. I'm surprised coffee's not in there too. So they're telling me bacon's more important than coffee? I don't know.
Absolutely, coffee should be in there. It's a travesty how expensive coffee is.
Books are down. Uh-oh.
But nobody's admitted we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like there's 60 some odd cargo ships sitting off the coast, California, waiting to come into Port LA. And it depends on who you ask. Like some people say, well, it's supply chain issues up the stream.
And didn't Governor Abbott say something like, bring them all to Texas? I know that Florida guy did too.
I think that was, DeSantis.
I think Governor Abbott said it too. I know, bring them to Galveston.
But you got to think from a supply chain and logistics standpoint. It's not just like getting them in and unloading them. Okay, that's great. They have to go somewhere. You have to have enough roadside or ground traffic transportation, either by train or by truck, to get those to where they needed to go anyway. And if they're coming to California, many of them maybe they're coming to distribution center that it wouldn't make sense to ship them to Texas. Drop them in Texas, go to Texas, pick it up, and take them to the West Coast again.
Well, I mean, if you think about California is a huge consumer as well, so a lot of those. Like people coming to a lot of the ships coming to those ports aren't necessarily coming to Texas anyway, right? A lot of that product may not be coming to Texas. If you watch Valuetainment podcast, they actually had the port manager of LA on, and the port manager's like, look, it's not us, it's the problem. They were saying, hey, we need more land, because what's happening is they were saying that all those containers, all right, they empty out the containers, and the containers are sitting there. China is not taking the containers back.
You said that, Trumpy. China.
So what's interesting about that is not taking
those
back. And so that's the biggest problem, is they have stuff that's stacking up that they can't send back. And that's what one of the things they said was a problem. The other thing they said is, look, I mean, then he went off on a whole,
guess where there's land.
So it's kind of different. But yeah, go ahead.
Texas. There's plenty of land here. And wherever else they have to go in the
United States. We can make border walls out of containers, can't we?
I have two things to add, though. Two things. One, how many of those goods are actually going to be bad by the time they get them off that ship? Because they're they're made to be overseas for a few months. But if there's moisture in those trailers, then it's going to ruin a lot of the goods that are already in there. So that's going to be trashed. But they're also, I mean, realistically speaking, you have to understand, like, many of these companies don't necessarily want to flush out the supply chain quickly. Like, there's benefit to doing it this way. They're not willing to incur a long-term capital cost increase for what is a short-term problem. Like, nobody's adding capital. They're not willing to go buy more warehouses or add 100 new trucks to their fleet, because they say, hey, there's no reason for us to buy 100 trucks when this is going to flesh itself out in 6 months. And then we're stuck with all these extra trucks. So, and also, the realistic part, the conspiracy side of that too, is it makes way more sense for them to drag out supply relative to demand in order to keep the prices high. And we know that the builders are doing this right now too, right? Like I talked to a builder in Hutto yesterday. They have plenty of these homes. Like they could sell every one of these homes to clients, to buyers right now. Like my clients are waiting, and they say, hey, we have 15 in the pipeline, but they're metering those out for many reasons. It makes more sense for them to hold out. They can have a stronger supply going forward. They only have enough people to build them. They potentially could get higher prices later. So there's a lot of good reasons.
I mean, there's so many reasons why those builders are doing that. Number one, they stopped. They were building inventory homes and not pricing them because they didn't know what the hell was going to happen with lumber. So they weren't pricing stuff. So that's one thing. Now they're running in, and I did a video. If you haven't seen my Tuesday video that came out yesterday, I highly recommend you watch it. Not just a shameless plug, but as a shameless plug. I talked about this. A lot of these subs, in fact, the builder I met with today that was with Bloomberg, they told him flat out, like, yeah, a lot of the subs will go somewhere and make a buck more somewhere else, and then it delays us even further. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening is people are going where they can make $1 more. And so that's causing all of our inflation costs as well.
Well, I mean, if they're being paid $10 and they can go make, like you said, $11 or $12, they're going to do it. No doubt. And if they can make 20, they're gone. They don't even need that job anymore. I'm out.
That reminds me of the refi. A lot of friends who are lenders, processors, and they were hiring processors during the big refi boom when it first started. You couldn't pay a processor enough, and processors were leaving companies for $2 more a deal, $5 more a deal, and no one could find them. All of a sudden, like, it slowed down, and now they're firing processors. I'm like, damn, like these guys were negotiating for some big money, and all of a sudden, it's cleared itself out. Things have stabilized, and so now they're letting all these processors go. It's kind of sad to see, but it is what it is. Supply and demand definitely was not in the favor of them right now.
Well, in appraisers, I mean, appraisers is a pain in the ass right now. I had somebody who's under contract right now, and the appraiser wanted $950 for an appraisal due back by the end of the month.
Dude, surveys are like that too. For whatever
the
reason.
biggest survey company stopped helping. The largest survey company in Austin stopped doing residential surveys. They're only doing commercial surveys. So that also hurts.
Wow.
Well, that's why there's a lot of
speaking of warehouses. Y'all hear about the Amazon? Did you see that? This whole Amazon thing?
Saw that. Did you sign into my Austin Business Journal account, Ian?
I did not. See, it says unlock now. So I've got that big banner at the top.
I have mine. I have the unlocked version if you want to get past the paywall.
I might.
What's the deal? I didn't see what happened. What happened with Amazon?
Up, in Georgetown, right, Ian?
It's just, so if this does happen, think about it. Amazon's already in Taylor. They just did a thing in Round Rock. They're in Pflugerville. They're south. They're Buda. And then they'd be in Georgetown. And we're just talking about, distribution centers, right? Like there's so much going on with Amazon right now.
It says that
being area's largest employer.
It says they're considering the site, but they haven't signed a lease or purchased the land. Well, here's an opportunity to go buy that land right now. That's the dumb thing to admit. I'll go buy it right now.
Yeah.
Paul, is it true that you insure everything?
You know what? If I can't do it, I'll find someone who can.
I've got an FPV drone. Can you do that? Can you insure Kevin's mullet, and how much? I know you can. I know that's a thing.
They do that kind of stuff, right? Didn't like Cindy Crawford have her legs insured?
Yeah. Lloyd's of London. I saw that. Like soccer players get their legs insured. Like seriously, their legs are insured. Professional soccer players, obviously not.
I feel like this mullet should have its policy.
I think so.
Yeah, you should.
I can find a premium for that.
I would actually do it. I would actually just do it for the meme, to be honest with you. If you can make that happen.
So hold on. Okay. Turn your head to the side and then make a meme out of this. Insure my mullet. Here you go. Who can do it? Insure this mullet. Print screen. There you go. All right. Okay. So I think it was the Angel had been asking this question. I think this is a good question. Do y'all foresee a consolidation of the housing market? Thoughts on that? I believe this is one of the questions Bloomberg was thinking about when they were here. I'm not really quite sure what their article's on. I answered a lot of questions. There was a lot of questions like, why are you so sexy? Things like that. But this was one of the questions I think they're asking too. So what do you think? Correction, is it coming, Paul? Paul State, answer the question.
I say no. I say that things are going to continue to skyrocket. I mean, there's so many people who are professionals here in Austin or tech professionals in Austin renting that would love to buy a house. They would die to buy a house, and they can't freaking get a house, and they have to move into Georgetown or San Marcos to find a house. And now all these companies. I mean, I've got executives moving to town who are just preparing for the future. You know what I mean? So no, I personally don't see it. I see too many people coming here. The lifestyle is amazing here. The weather is amazing here. More and more people are seeing it now. So I personally do not foresee anything changing. I think it's continuing going up. I think it's an amazing investment. If I had more cash, I'd be buying more real estate. Just from my perspective, I'm not a realtor, but from what I see, it's growing so fast.
Let me put on my thinking mullet for a minute. Go ahead.
No. Ian's
no. You go. No, you go.
No, you.
So, okay. I really feel like what I think Kevin brings this up all the time. A lot of people are looking at this at a micro level, at what's happening right now, at this month and the last couple of months. But overall, over the next 5 years, that correction will only be a blip on the scale, right? It will continue to rise from everything that we've seen so far. Again, that's so far, unless there's some kind of catastrophe. With the amount of people that want to come here, with the amount of jobs that are coming here, with the amount of, opportunity just in general, I think it's going to keep going.
Kevin.
I will offer my 2 cents, and then I need to step off, finish up the night. I like consolidation. So yeah, I think consolidation is very necessary. I think we will see it. We're already kind of seeing it. So, but I can tell you that demand is definitely picking up a lot more on stuff. Like I had listed like a very small condo like a week and a half ago, or like it went under contract, came back on the market. And then over the weekend, I had a couple of showings. I had 12 calls today from agents looking to show that condo. 12 today. And so, and the same thing, we went and looked at a house in Hutto, first day on the market, lines out the door again. Constant stream of people waiting. Look at these more affordable places. So, I mean, yeah, it's consolidation, but I think potentially if I'm basing it on demand, I think maybe if I'm guessing, we've seen the bottom of a small little trough of that consolidation, and I'd say the rubber band's starting to snap back up again. So.
I'm going to say right now, I hate you, Kevin, because you just took exactly what I was going to say.
Oh,
so
you're welcome.
Literally, I'm sitting in this car today and talking to this reporter, and we're going through new builds and talking about different things. And the question kept coming up about interest rates and the future market and all this inventory that's coming up with new builds. And as we go through all these new builds, there's really not a whole lot to sell. And then I look at the market right now. So there's 3,800 active listings on the MLS. Now, 3,400 of those are actually in the Austin Metroplex. The other 400 are just like in our MLS. They're not actually sellable in here. 922 of those are new builds. We go through these new builds today. And as we're walking through these new builds, we're asking the builders like, hey, you have this inventory. And they're like, well, we have this inventory, but it's not done until July of next year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the 922, while they might go under contract, they're still not going to close until the middle of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Which
so
means
they don't count.
Which means the reality is, let's say half. Let's say half of that 900 is actually available that can close in the next 2 months before the end of the year. Let's say a third. Let's say a third, because that's probably more realistic. So we're talking about 3,400 listings. 400 of those actually aren't able to purchase right now. Probably 500 of those are just pieces of crap houses that need so much work and they're overpriced. 2,500 listings are actually available. So let's look at that. Last month, like 4,000 homes sold. In fact, I have the information right here. In the MSA last month, 3,800. Man, I'm good at this game. 3,892 actually sold last month. That means we have 2 weeks of inventory on the market. And so the reporter kept saying, well, there's a lot more inventory. And I'm going, where? What inventory are you speaking of? Because 2 weeks ago, we had 4,500 units on the market, and that's in our MSA. And now we have 3,800. And then I just did the math, kind of revising that backwards. It's going to be tough for us to really. So inflation is a pain in the ass. Yeah. Interest rates going up is going to hurt prices. The problem is that if we see another 30% year over year in January, February, which we'll most likely will see, that number will probably reduce greatly when it comes to June, July, because that's where we saw our spike. I'm with Kevin. I think our correction was the last 4 months. I don't think we see the 525 mark for a very long time. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Again, this is anecdotal, and I think one thing that we do very well is translate anecdotal market evidence into like real. This is real evidence. We're not just reporting data. We're telling you what's happening. I have twice as many buyers now that I did in the hot season. Yep. So, I mean, take that information and do what you would with it. But I literally, I think when people, and this is why deflation is not a good thing either. When people see the prices of things coming down, they wait until it swings back up. And then some of them wait too long, but everybody tries to catch one side or the other. They try to catch a sell on the high side and catch a buy on the low side. So I do think now that if we see the consolidation, I think a lot of my buyers are going to feel more pressure to get something again. And like I said, I have at least twice as many buyers looking right now that I did in June or May.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I got to dip, Jeremy. Thanks again. Thanks, guys. Right. Thanks, Paul. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Later.
So, every realtor I know, same situation. Who do you know? I've got all these buyers. Someone find me a house in this price range in this neighborhood with this features, and it's impossible. You know what I mean? You have to. Sure, you can, but you got to go to Georgetown, or you got to go to Buda Kyle, and Buta's not even affordable anymore. Go ahead, Ian.
It's crazy. I get so many. I have a couple builders where they'll email me or text me and say, hey, I've got this house. It won't last. And by the time that I look at the house, check to see if it fits any of my clients, get that over to them, and then hear back, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's that rapid especially when it's a new build in a desirable area, especially when it's that. It's so fast. And we're not talking small houses, right? We're talking 800,000 price points.
Well, yeah. So it's a good point you made, because it was David Weekley put out this thing. We're going to pay. It was like an $800,000 house, and I want to say was it in Liberty Hill? It was up north. It was maybe Leander, Liberty Hill. $800,000 house. David Weekley's like, hey, we need to get rid of this listing. We're going to give agents 6% commission to come buy this. And everybody I saw it and I was like, whoa, I don't have anybody I'm like, $800,000 in Liberty Hill. You're crazy. Or maybe it was Treviso. Either way, I was like, you're crazy. And then some agent posted in the Facebook group, like, hey, I was the agent that had that client for that property that was 6%. They weren't doing it in a bragging way, but people were asking like, hey, did you see this? And someone's like, yeah, my client put it under contract. Not in a bragging way. Please don't take it that way. But I was like, damn, like $800,000 in Liberty Hill. Like, that's insane. Like, it was insane to me. And as I was talking to in Santa Rita Ranch today, the builder for Scott Felder was like, yeah, we just sold one for $1.3 million in Santa Rita Ranch. You know how far that is from anything? Ian sells a lot of homes in Santa Rita Ranch. I'm like, God, that's so far for $1.3 million. Jesus, does it have like cocaine and gold everywhere? It's so expensive. Anyway, sorry. It's a weird rant.
Ian, Santa Rita Ranch has a golf course in it, correct?
Oh, I don't think it does.
Next to it.
Oh, really?
There's
Oh,
one
next
like
to it.
right down the street.
There's Cimarron Hills that has a golf course, right? And it's butting up to it, but it's not a Santa Rita golf course. I don't think you get it.
I saw someone ask a question about Spicewood. I played golf today in Spicewood, and all these houses. There's this new golf course I played at, and there's lots available out there. And I was like, I mean, these are beautiful lots, and I was shocked that they weren't all sold. I played golf in Blanco the other day, and I went to play golf there 2 years ago, and this was a country course, and there was probably 7 houses in this course, and now it is just completely packed. I'm in shock sometimes to see what happens. So yeah, it's awesome to me, to our business. It's phenomenal. Keep us busy forever.
Dondi, so I'm saying about Santa Rita Ranch is that $1.3 million for being out there in Santa Rita Ranch. $1.3 million was crazy to me. Like out there for $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because there is exactly what you said, an HEB right there. You're really not far from Leander, and you know, I think it's after being out there today and walking the community, I agree. It's actually a very nice community. But for 1.3 million, that's where I was like, Jesus, that's crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Here's where it gets interesting. We're still in a space where it's easy enough to get there in a reasonable amount of time, right? So Santa Rita Ranch, while you call it out there, it's really only 30 minutes from downtown Austin, assuming you're not fighting a lot of traffic. It's no different than being somewhere south. No different, except not everyone has returned to work. Now, here's how I look at it. I look at it where when more companies are starting to return to work, it's actually going to affect south more. That's my prediction. There's going to be even worse traffic south of the river than there will be north. We're
so spoiled. We don't even realize, like you said, 30 miles in 30 minutes, you know what I mean? Versus someone in New York, my class from New York and California, like, dude, I live 5 miles from my office and it takes me 2 hours on the 5 to get there. You know what I mean? And we're 30 miles, 30 minutes, no big deal. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're very spoiled. 2 weeks in the market, 5 minutes to work, stuff like that. You know, an old Texas term was, I'm 15 minutes away. I don't care where you're at in Austin, I'm 15 minutes away. And now that's changed, but still, I still say I'm 15 minutes away. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I got to go to Round Rock. You know what I mean? So it can be done. How fast can you drive?
So this is a good question, Carlos. This is a very good question. And I can answer this because I know exactly what's going on because I have a client that just went under contract and I know the reps in this neighborhood very, very well. So Enclave of Estancia, there's one floor plan that they spec'd out. They put 16 available. 16 of one floor plan. Now they have to get rid of it because they thought it was going to be the most desirable floor plan. I think it's called the Richmond. I want to say that was it. So that floor plan is the one that you're seeing price cuts on. I just had a client go $38,000 under list price on that floor plan because they're trying to get rid of that floor plan. Here's the deal. They've padded into their cost. And this is a prime example, Scott Felder today. They've padded into their cost the lot premium. So they arbitrarily, and I'm not saying this, I'm not saying MI did this, but I'm saying Scott Felder told me about this. So this is what I'm imagining happened. So they said, okay, these lots are all a $20,000 lot premium, which the lot premium is kind of just a made up thing. They said these are important lots or good, that people are going to like these lots. So let's put an extra fee on them. So really they're slashing the lot premium cost on that and not the actual price of the home. So that's what you're seeing. They're dropping the lot premiums as an incentive. So I hope that helps. But Estancia and Cascades, there are two places I've talked about in recent videos. Highly recommend them. The location, you can't beat the location. I think the location is one of the best locations. So there you go. Anyway.
Hey, Jeremy, someone asked a question above. I wanted to answer. It was as prices go up for houses, does insurance prices go up? It's a very interesting question because it comes up a lot. So I'm buying this house in, say, Estancia, right? Or give me an expensive neighborhood. Tervisa. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm buying a house there. So it's a 3,000 square foot house, right? And it's going to cost $700,000, or I'm going to buy it for $1 million. Okay. What people don't really understand is what insurance is involving is the structure. The land value continues to skyrocket, but we don't really cover the land value. So to rebuild that house is still going to cost $200 a square foot to rebuild that house. That hasn't really changed in the last couple of years. It has a little bit in the last, few months, but overall it's still between $125 and $200 a square foot to rebuild a house. But the land value keeps going. So the price is going up on the house, but that's the land value. And that if house burns to the ground, the land's still worth $700,000. And so no, it doesn't really skyrocket as the prices of houses continue to go up. All we're concerned about is the structure itself.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. With the numbers in mind, what will happen to the mid to low income families, the suburbs and cities within 1 hour and already above 300K if the property taxes doesn't drive them out? The inflation will. This tax rates get me going, man. I get my blood flowing because somebody talked about Plum Creek. You want to know why? You want to know why this problem is, Linda? Plum Creek, this specific neighborhood that Lennar building, 3.04% tax rate. That is why they're opening up to investors because they're overbuilding in this little area. It's a great area. The mayor of Kyle loves this area. No offense to this area, but Lennar has done some shady things to realtors. They've done some shady things. And so us realtors are not bringing clients by. And now they're changing their pay structure for realtors. They're trying to incentivize realtors to this neighborhood. So yeah, the tax rate, and I will not take, if I have a client that says, hey, can we go look at this neighborhood? I will first up say, hey, look, the tax rate over there is 3.04%. That means if you buy that $400,000 house that you like, that has an ADU and it's so great, it's going to be 12 to 15 grand in taxes per year. Are you ready for that? And I think that's the biggest problem with that neighborhood. I love the area. I love the location. I love what they're doing over there in Plum Creek. I just today had a client close in Plum Creek, the actual Plum Creek neighborhood. And I told them, buy over here. Don't buy in the new build, buy resale. And they bought resale. They're tickled pink happy off market deal. So that's all I got to say about Lennar. Here's the tough part about Lennar, and Ian knows this. The reps at Lennar, the people that work at Lennar, great people. The higher ups, they're going after money. All right. Yep. Ian, what's up?
I'm just listening to you, man. I don't know what we were talking about. I know what you're talking about. You were talking about the lower price point homes and how that's going to affect the middle class, middle and lower class.
Yeah, there you go.
That is the question of the day. Say it again about the property tax.
Well, all of these new build neighborhoods that are in the 300s, the property tax is 3%. They're taking it in the shorts.
That's one of those things where it's always been higher, not always, but for a long time there have been higher property taxes. The thing is, that's where resale homes come into play, because you can actually get a resale home at a lower tax rate versus these new builds in most cases. That's generally how it works, right? However, these resale homes, because they're so close to city center, or as you're getting closer to the city center, they're so high. So I would recommend in that situation, if it's a family that can only afford $300,000, they just have to keep their eyes open for houses that are either overpriced in the MLS. We've talked about that a bunch. Yeah, it may overpriced in the MLS, and just look for some. I mean, there are still some out there that have been on the market for 20 days, 30 days. They might not be your favorite, but
and they're going to need work.
I think
they're going to need work. We're not talking about foreclosures here, because if foreclosures, investors are going to come eat those up. Yep. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, what about when the foreclosures hit?" I was like, I don't know if you know where we are. Do you
realize that so they're talking about some, I don't know who it was, put out this article talking about foreclosures are up. The foreclosure boom is here. Do you realize the amount of foreclosures are less than they were in 2019? the number of
They just want
foreclosures
something
right
to
now
talk
are
about.
less than there were in 2019. So yeah, they're up from 2020 or 2021 or earlier 2021 when there was a foreclosure mandate or whatever. All the mandates are in place, but yeah, they're still lower than they were in 2019. Sorry, Ian, I cut you off. I'm gonna mute
Hey,
myself.
the comment about Austin will be a renter's area. I don't know what you're talking about, Austin. Freaking Buda Kyle is going to be a renter's area. If there's nothing affordable there, you either have to rent in Buda Kyle. One of my buddies builds apartment complexes. He lives in Dallas and builds apartment complexes here. He's like, I cannot build them fast enough, and he builds them, rents them out, and then sells the deal to an investor. And he's like, I cannot get fast enough. He'll pay whatever for land and put apartment complex. And it's not just Austin. It's you keep going further and further out because it's even renting is becoming $2,000 a month for one bedrooms.
Here's a fun side note. Paul, you'll like this because you've been out shooting hogs on this land. But I have a friend who was working with Z Module. I was out there the other day. Z Module is a company that's building. They're a steel company that's building like these. It literally like the modules sit on a trailer. They can drive them, drop them off. They're building full, ready to be built apartment complexes. One's being built in San Marcos. I'm doing a video on it right now. But they're building these apartment complexes out of like pre-built boxes. Literally, they create the boxes, they put them on a truck, ship them down, and they can build 6,000 square feet in one day.
Damn.
6,000 square feet in one day. And that's how the future of, I don't want to spoil my whole video, but that's the future of building. Literally, these boxable companies that pre-box these apartment complexes in a box, put them in a shipping container, ship them down, lock them in place, 6,000 square feet in one day, lock and go. Zip, zip, zip. Isn't that crazy?
You gotta love the ingenuity of America.
Yeah. Light boxable, but definitely different. This is a steel company. In fact, this company will actually finance a deal. If you want to like do a whole apartment complex, they'll finance the deal because they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Crazy. Anyway, what do you think about Seguin?
I actually just had a closing there last week. Buy and hold. It seemed really good. Numbers were strong, if that's what you're looking at. It was also a new build, though, so it took 11 months or something to build, something like that. It took a long time, but now that it's closed, it's great.
They got a good school district there as well, by the way.
Yes, that too. Yep.
Interesting. Any thoughts on Shadow Glen? Tax rates too high for my blood.
Man, that place needs to stop growing. Gosh, they've been building on Shadow Glen for like 12 years. It's just, and they keep adding new phases and new sections. There's still no HEB though. Did I say that?
Yeah, still in Manor. Hey, but there is one in Liberty Hill, our next Liberty Hill adjacent.
Ronald Reagan.
Right there.
They got a great golf course at Shadow Glen, by the way.
Do they? I don't golf as much as you do because you don't ever invite me anymore. I'm just kidding. You invite me all the time, but I'm too damn busy. I think a sense of equity and appreciation for Liberty Hill. I think if you're looking at, Ian and I have had long conversations about Santa Rita Ranch in the past, and I've poo-pooed Santa Rita Ranch. I had a very eye-opening experience today in Santa Rita Ranch. Santa Rita Ranch to me is now on my list of yeses. Does that make you happy, Ian?
I mean, you always make me happy, so.
Does anybody know what a SpaceX is? This is actually a great point. So the company I referenced had been trying to work, from my knowledge, which might not be good knowledge, had been trying to work with Tesla to build units for their employees out on the land. I don't think they've come to an agreement to work on that though. So that was something that they were working on. Paul, why are there no new developments in the section between North Austin and Wells Branch? It's like a vacuum of new builds, but I see a ton of empty lots, massive ones, seeing apartments go up now. I mean, yeah, Paul, answer the question, Paul. Come on. Dinosaur D wants to know. Where's your mullet?
Your reason. There's your affordable housing. I mean, realistically, right? I mean, that's someone asked about affordable housing in Austin. They're doing that whole situation with the condo regimes where your AB units. I think that's to me personally, I think it's pretty cool. Again, innovation of Americans and innovation of Austinites is how do I make an investment? How do I double up on an investment? I'm going to buy this structure. I'm going to do an AB unit. I'm going to call it a condo regime, and I can sell both of them. I think that's the most genius ideas. I love that. How to fit more houses on one lot and double my money. I used to have a ponytail. I had a sweet ponytail back in the day right here. It was pretty sweet.
I even had
I've always had these locks, these locks right here.
Oh, geez. We got any
ever show you my mullet, Jeremy?
You have a mullet.
I had a mullet, man.
I'm
working on it. We'll get to it
now, or you're working on showing me the picture.
Working on showing you the picture.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna bail out, but if there's a mullet in the mix, everybody, please write in the comments. Let's see the mullet.
Working on it.
I had a flat top when I was younger. I shaved the sides straight up and literally did like the flat top. Like, is it MC Hammer? Did MC Hammer have a flat top? I had the flat pants too. They were like turtle pants, like turtle power pants. Oh man, I was the worst ever. I like Paul. He could be good friends with Levi. No, I don't. I know Levi and I know Paul. I'd rather hang out with Paul. Ooh, Palmer Lane, worth 800,000 commercial building. Buy it. Paul and I, we go over to Palmer Lane every now and then, don't we, Paul?
Yes, we do. 800,000 for a commercial building.
I'd buy it.
100%.
I can tell you. What's the company that does the buses in Austin? They're buying 25 acres. Can't tell you how I know this for like almost $8 million. 25, 30 acres. Can't tell you how I know that, but I know it. Is it MTS? Is that who does it? Anyway, over by Waste Management. It's crazy. Anyway, where's the mullet? Anybody wanting the mullet? I don't see any mullet comments in here.
Man, it's right. It's so close. Nobody wants it anyway. Nobody wants it anyway. All right.
Paul, any other
I can get you. Closest I can get you.
Oh.
Here's the thing. I actually had like a really long, like rat tail type thing. It was a skinny mullet.
Ian, that's the same haircut you have now.
I know it is. Look at
that. What are you talking about? A mullet. Your hair's a little longer in that picture.
I had a really thick tail before, man. It was crazy. Hold on, last one. Hold on. You guys see that one? Look at that.
I think you're too young for a mullet.
That's your hair. I just needed to spike it up on that one.
That's funny. Oh. Paul, do you have any young pictures of yourself you want to add?
Man, I wish I had that quick access to like and pop up a picture. Almost when I was in college, all my stuff got stolen. I went home for Christmas vacation and put all my stuff in like a pod and came back from Christmas vacation and everything was gone. Like all my high school, my young college years, I lost everything. I got nothing of my kids are like, yeah, you weren't cool. I can't prove that I was cool back in the days. My kid's like, nah, I don't believe you. I'm like, I can't prove I was cool. So.
Wait, so all those stories of you telling me you were like a high school champ in football were BS?
I mean, I don't know about a champ. I mean, I played high school football. I may or may not have been
300. You said I could bench 300 in high school.
I can still bench 300. That's not a big deal. I mean, come on.
I was benching.
We'll stack up 2 here. You put them up.
You know that, right, Jeremy?
You were benching 295?
Yeah.
Nice.
His mullet was benching another 10. It was amazing. Do you think that bidding war fantasy for new build homes in Leander and Liberty Hill will go away anytime in the future? Yes, I do. January, it will go away. I'm telling you right now. It's going to go away. How do I know? Just talk to a builder. What do they say? We have more lots coming in January. Every other builder is saying I have all these lots coming in January. I think we'll see a buildup of inventory January, February, March from these builders. The problem is that's still going to take 15 months to build out. That is the problem. We will not see inventory available. So I think builders will have more to sell. So they might give a few more, incentives as far as to be built. But one thing I'm running into, and Ian and Paul, I almost said Kevin. I didn't see the mullet. So one thing I'm running into, and I wonder if you're seeing this. So in new build communities, builders that are building inventory homes that aren't under contract yet, do you think, or are you seeing them build those homes faster than homes that are actually under contract with a builder or with a buyer who wrote a contract? So what I'm saying is, like, so a buyer writes a contract on a property, and then a builder does a to be built or an inventory home. Do you think that they're building those inventory homes at a much faster pace and a quicker pace than the ones they actually have contracts on? Does that make sense?
Trying to get rid of the inventory versus letting the people sweat a
are
little
they
bit.
building inventory homes that don't have a contract faster than ones they know they have a contract on?
I hear the excuse all the time that something fell out of contract because of financing. And then all of a sudden, mysteriously, there is a new inventory home. I hear that a lot, right? I don't buy it every time. So that kind of answers your question, because I think there are some games being played there, for sure. Because I have one guy in particular in Orchard Ridge who he's been under contract. His house was supposed to be done in October. Now they're telling him February. And sure enough, you see other houses that are nearby that are getting done faster.
Yeah.
They're moving a lot quicker. So I don't know if those are going to be inventory homes or if they're going to fall out of contract because of financing, and then boom, they'll be up. But the point is, they're moving quicker than his house that he's had under contract forever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. So that's what you're seeing. Paul does all of my insurance policies. He knows everything about me. He knows my credit score better than I do, but he knows that I have an investment property in New Braunfels that was supposed to be done in November, and it's not going to be done until, they keep saying February, but it's going to be March. I know they're not going to build it. And so now I think they are building it as fast as they can. They want to close out. All these builders want that money as fast as they can. But I think some builders may be putting more emphasis on the homes that they don't have contracts on, and trying to get those to a stage where they know the pricing is. Because right now it's hard to price. I feel like you do an inventory home and you put all this stuff into it, you know what your base price is. You don't fully know until you run into the delays, and then it's going to cost you more, right? So it's easier to price something once you get past sheetrock or once everything's ordered and has a delivery date. Whereas a to be built that somebody has a contract on, you already know the timeline for that. So build the other one faster. And that's what I think I'm seeing.
You wonder about, taxes. Is Lennar and KB, are they publicly traded companies?
Oh yeah.
Lennar.
So I wonder, like,
Those
okay,
profits.
hey guys, we've had a record-breaking year this year. We need to start pushing stuff a little bit, into January, because we need to have another record-breaking 22. You know what I mean? Because they're blowing out numbers, right? So I wonder how often there's a little bit of pressure to get it out, but also, hey, we need to get our numbers for 22 to start off really fast. So make sure stock prices go. Everything's about stock prices, right? I wonder if that's ever a factor.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. I think you're correct that they want sales for Q1 of 2022, but they also need the Q4 sales to help the Q1 sales, right? So in Q1, they can say, oh, Q4 was the biggest Q ever. Look at this. And then that helps the stock price in the 2020. So yes and no. I see what you're saying, but also at the same time, I think builders have incentive to sell. Do they have the incentive to close all the time? I think they do, but yeah.
What do you think, Ian?
Well, I was going to say, I think that wanting to close just above so that it shows that there is an increase.
Right.
But still, if you have, what do you call it, like a cushion, then you would push that cushion into next year so that you have good, strong first quarter numbers as well.
Mm.
If you can get both out of there, I think that's better than saying, okay, well, we're going up. We improved our profit by 70% in Q4 of 2021 and 3% in Q1 of 2022. They don't want to do that, right? They want to spread the wealth. So I gave you both I gave you another hair pick in here.
Oh yeah. Here you go.
Let's see it.
This shows my level of commitment. I shaved
your
my
wife?
head. Yeah, that's my wife.
Okay.
Look at those muscles, though. I thought
This
I
was
was
like
getting
last year,
swole.
was it?
I told you I was benching it, man. I don't play around.
This is before you broke your wrist.
Yes, it is. That is true.
I like that.
Who was it? It was our buddy in San Antonio who was making fun of you for breaking your wrist. I won't say why, but it had to do with a Pornhub. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I said wrong hand.
He said, send me the video that you were watching, is what he said. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. So we're in the after hours show after 8:30, so it's okay.
My greatest Halloween costume was Andre Agassi with the short shorts and the hair and the everything, the mullet, everything was awesome. I like that costume.
Tom Petty's back. We'll get to that comment in a second. I could see you saying that. In fact, I think I saw that. Didn't you send me that picture?
I did.
I'm pretty
maybe.
sure I've seen that picture of you. Yeah. We had a contract and you build January 2021. Now they are saying my home is increased by 8% because of material costs. Pretty sure that happened. Hiked it by 10 to 15%. Is it fair to increase the sales price after a contract binding? So it depends. If in your contract there's a provision that states that the builder has the right to escalation, then yes, they might not have it in there, but they also can come back and say it costs us more now. You have the right. We'll let you pay the new price. Otherwise, you can terminate, and then we'll just sell it to somebody else. And that's been the biggest critique and the biggest anger on this channel. Things that we've talked about is that issue right there. Right, Ian?
So there aren't a lot of builders that are doing that.
Right.
But there are a few that have been adding it in. And I mean, they're open about it. They're the ones that are adding it in. So there aren't a lot. So I would just be careful, like Jeremy said, when you're looking at the contracts. Or just ask the rep, if we're sitting there at a table together and you're like, am I going to have to worry about this price changing? That's obviously a conversation to have. But you can also reach out to any of us and we can tell you which builders will do that.
We had a big community out where I live, and they canceled all but 4 contracts because they were within those 4 contracts didn't get canceled because they were within like a 45-day window or a 30-day window of completion of the house, so they couldn't pull out of it. And I was like, oh man, that's those 4 people. Happen to know one of them. Really lucked out in that situation. I didn't even know that was a thing, that you could just cancel a contract. A builder could just cancel a contract. That's pretty crazy. All
day long, right? Like it says that in the contracts. If you look at them, most of them are written at the favor of the builder, where they can cancel if need be. And usually they'll have to have a reason for it, right? Like, well, you're using your own lender, not our preferred lender, but you know what? They're not answering quick enough. We can cancel. Like it's crazy. Tesla Gigafactory. I mean, rental prices for sure. To answer that question,
Tiarmo, Whisper Valley, Manor.
Oh yeah, home prices have already gone up. I'm going to say 40% in both Tiarmo and Whisper Valley. Manor, that actually hit a growth streak 2 years ago, or a year ago.
What about Bastrop? I've seen a lot of clients with a Bastrop now. I've seen a lot of the Tesla, Amazon people moving to Bastrop. Have y'all seen that?
A lot of people moving to Bastrop.
Yeah.
I'm under contract for MI for 330. That made me laugh. If prices drop in 8 months, can I renegotiate for lower? 330 with MI. How about this? I'll buy it for you from you for 350 right now. Are you serious? Under contract with MI for 330? 330. I'll buy it from you right now. 350. You'll make 20 grand profit. Call me.
Broke my camera. I've offered that to the same. I offered that to one of my clients in Santa Rita Ranch. Same scenario. They were like, "Oh, you know what? This isn't going to be done. This is going to be done," and they bought it 9 months ago, so it just got finished, and they were getting ready to walk away. I was like, "I will buy this house from you right now. Seriously, don't do that."
Paul, that rental property we're talking about, Jensen has it for sale right here. Oh my gosh, 330. I would love to buy a 330 house.
Yeah, this isn't Black Friday. They're not gonna the builders aren't gonna go down and say, "Oh yeah, it's on sale now, and we're gonna adjust the price." No.
Jeez.
They don't have any reason to, because they can just give it to someone else for more.
So Tom Petty's asked twice now, are homes in 78717 worth a premium given that most homes in the area are economy class DR Horton homes? Cedar Park is already pretty far out. Is neighboring Leander, Georgetown a better option? What is 78717? Am I missing that? Missing.
I thought 78613, but so the thing about DR Horton is most people who are buying their second home, they don't care. They don't know. Like if it's a resale home and let's say it's a first time buyer, they just want a house.
Are you kidding me? Buying 78717. You're a fool not to buy in that zip code. Jeez, buying that zip code. Tom Petty, don't be a fool.
Where's
Tom Petty?
Where's 17?
Don't be a fool. Brushy Creek,
No.
Avery Ranch.
Yeah, that's one of the
Buying
fastest growing.
100% buying it. It's worth the premium. Buying it. Why? It's much closer than all those other areas. Are you kidding? I've made a whole video. Tom Petty, seriously. I've made whole videos on why this is one of the top 5 places to buy.
Yeah.
I was confused. I'm like, who would ask me about 78717? This can't be where I'm thinking it is. Are you Tom Petty? Buying 78717. You'll thank me later.
Yep.
Jeez, Tom Petty. Don't make Jeremy angry. He's had 2 blue drinks. When is it ever good to use a builder's lender? Ooh, that's a good one. Ian, answer the question, man. Come on.
My answer would be if you don't have the cash to put down and the builder's giving you really good incentives.
Now, I will counter that by saying always have an outside lender and verify the costs line up, and it's a good deal. It could 100 like 90% of the time is probably better. There's 10% of the time that the outside lender can actually do better, whether it's rate, and they can break down the numbers better for you. Love you, Tom Petty. Buy in 78717. Call me. We'll find you something. Paul, we're almost 2 hours in. You've hung around the whole time. Welcome. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Well, I'll be a little selfish and tell you my wife is putting the kids in bed right now. And so by the time we get done here, like, hey, babe, kids are asleep. Sweet.
Nice.
Back rub? Have you seen this back rub? These hands are made for back rubs. Exactly. What about all cash deals? I mean,
and then you don't need a lender, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's all cash nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's pretty funny.
I would buy in 78717 versus Cascades.
Brushy Creek all day.
All day. Now,
all day or day.
Cascades is going to see huge growth out there. 78717 doesn't have much place else to grow. That's why I say 78717.
That's why it wins. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have if you can't build out any further and you're restricted, prices go up. If you can build out even further, this is the problem with Dallas. Everybody thinks Dallas is so much cheaper, so much greater. The problem with Dallas is they keep building further and further out. Oh, it's another 10 minutes out. It's another 10 minutes out. It's another 10 minutes out. Now you're in Austin. Right? Now don't worry, I live close to Dallas. I'm in Oklahoma. That's what's
It's
going to
close,
happen.
though.
You're close. I'm so close to Dallas, but
Here's
I
the-
live in OKC.
What's crazy about that is they are close when relative to how far they were driving before. So in New York or California, if they were driving 3 hours and now they're only driving 1.5, they are closer. So like logically, I guess it makes sense, but yeah, it's
And then
much
you live in
further than
Oklahoma,
some
and you have the Tiger King Jr. there.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't get incentives for going all cash. It's not like buying a car.
Well, you can hold on. Let me take a step back. So you can use their lender, get the incentives, and then pay it off 6 months later. I mean, I guess you could pay it off right away. You just have to make sure there isn't a penalty for paying off early.
Nailed it. Ian of Austin. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, very good YouTube channel. I recommend subscribing and dropping more comments on my channel, but definitely for every one comment you drop on Ian of Austin channel, drop like 3 on mine. And like, if you can like more than once, do that too. But yeah, definitely Ian of Austin. He puts out some good stuff. He talks a lot, but
I talk too much.
He does.
So if you like just listening to me rant and rave, I'm trying to get better with it. I'm trying.
Paul, where's your YouTube channel? I feel like you should have one. You got 4
I know.
kids. You got a lot to talk about.
Mine's called the Guerrero Girls, and this is
Gigi?
it's about my my crazy expensive daughters.
Hey, you should monetize off your daughters, though. You know what
I
I'm
should,
saying?
right?
Like, you monetize
gosh.
off them, you pay for their college.
I created
And
a
they're- and the
TikTok
4
for my
weddings.
freaking doodle, man.
You should.
You created TikTok for your what?
For my golden doodle, my mini golden doodle.
Yeah.
Just cause I will exploit him to no end.
The dog that your wife bought that you don't want to walk.
Yeah, but I can put him on TikTok.
Yeah, look at that. That's me today, taking a nap on the couch with the dog. wearing a doodle shirt. That was a doodle shirt right there. My wife goes like, "You took a nap?" I was like, "No, I just laid down so I could take that photo. I wasn't really sleeping." I got too much to do. Paul has no time for YouTube. He has 4 daughters. Very true. All right. We are 2 hours in. That is it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the 2 hours. Everybody, thank Paul. Reach out, Paul Guerrero at Allestate if you have any questions for him. I'll drop what happened? What I missed?
Dinosaur D.
Ian exploited his mini doodle so much he broke his.
It's the best comments. And with that, I'm out.
Mike drop. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next one.